viewpoints and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And welcome, everyone, to Scarefest Television. The original broadcast date, September 13th, 2024. We are about a month and a week-ish from the big event. Okay, tonight, my co-host is the lovely and adorable and talented Chad Harlan. Welcome back, Chad.
Howdy.
Chad,
Good to see you.
Now, I got to tell you why you're co-hosting tonight. You're the
Usually means something went wrong somewhere.
You're the only co-host that had no plans tonight. Although
I canceled mine to get to hang out with you.
For the record, Katie's plans were to go to bed early, so that's she had to get up the same time that I get up every goddamn day. So yeah, that's
I know.
Okay, and our guest tonight, Mr. Rob Whelan. He started last year doing prosthetic. I'm going to trip on that word tonight. Cosplay prosthetic seminars, classes for us. He'll be back this year. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here and talk to everybody.
I want to remind everybody, of course, Joe Lewis will be on later with his Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice Part 2, Part Deuce, his review of that. And we do have what is allegedly our last two guest announcements. So there. Now, everybody can just shut up about who their wish list is for 2024 now. Okay, let's get on into it. Rob, of course, now I want to tell the fans, now Rob will be doing classes on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yep. So let's just start with Friday. That's your introduction. Yep. What do you try to do in the introduction class?
Okay, so let me. Can I back up just a minute?
Sure.
And okay, so to get that, I'll tell you sort of what we're after in like the whole 3-day weekend, right? So. I got an interest in doing this kind of thing, and there were a lot of things at conventions that were demos, right? You'd go in and a professional would sit down and you'd do a makeup on somebody, and that would be great, and everybody would applaud, and that would be the end of it. But I never left there with anything I could apply. You know, they're in there and they're pulling out their airbrushes and they're doing, and we don't have that. We don't have that stuff. So I learned a little bit and decided that what was missing out there was something like what we do, which is a hands-on, you do it, you make it class. So that's how we got started. So in the first class, we kind of teach them a little bit backwards from the way you'd actually do it. But in the first class, we give you a prosthetic piece, and it's going to be like a scar or some rot or something along those lines. And we tell you what's in it and how it was made and how you could go home and make it. And then we give it to you, and you can put it on, glue it on yourself, and you can paint it. And if you like it, you wear it out. We'll give you the remover for it, and you can go on about your day with it. And we've had some really cool stuff just come out of people that didn't know they had it in them, once you get their hands on it. That's the whole point of what we want to do. We want to get your hands dirty, like touch it, feel it, play with it. And then the next day, the intermediate one, you start from scratch and you make your own prosthetic, a little bitty one.
Oh,
But you go through, you go through the whole Hollywood process, start to finish on a teeny weeny little scale. But when you leave there, you can look at a movie or television thing and say, oh, I know what they did there. I know how it was done. I couldn't do it, but I know how it was done.
Now, on the intermediate, do you have like a couple of choices, or does everybody do the exact same thing? How's that work?
They do the same thing, but they do their own design and they do their own sculpting of what they're going to make. So they get some clay. Let me see if I can show you. So I don't know if that's going to show up, but that's one of the little platforms, and that's one that a student did, and it's just a little cut, right? So they get some clay and a little platform and a cup, and they sculpt it. We have examples up on a screen for them, and they take some tools and they make a sculpt, and then we have them make a mold of that, and then we have them make a cast of it in prosthetic silicone. So it's the real deal. It's a small scale, but it's the real process, and they do it. You take home whatever you make, you take with you.
So generally, we're talking about like a necklace, okay, a cut, like a knife cut, axe wound, whatever. Now I notice on your face though you're wearing rotting flesh.
Am I?
Well, it's what it looks like to me. Or you've just really gotten bad since your last picture.
No. I woke up like this. It was doctor said it was corduroy, cordyceps, something. Anyway, my insurance doesn't cover it, so we're taking a wait and see approach on this one. No, actually, this mess here, yes, it's rotted. But after you contacted me about doing this, I sat down and I got out the materials that we use in that first class when we're doing Friday. And all of this is a just more sophisticated version of the same materials that we teach in that first class. So this is made out of exactly what we tell you to go home and make. I make this at my kitchen table. I'm at my kitchen table right now. And so if I can do it, you can do it.
Chad.
That's the point.
Rob, welcome to Scarefest Television. How are you tonight?
I am good, and I am so glad to be here with everybody.
Good. You do something that I wished I could learn to do, and I just hate the fact that I'm going to have to miss the class at Scarefest because I'll be tied up. But at some point, I've got to figure out a way to get into one of your classes. We'd be glad to have you, man. Tell me how somebody finds their way into prosthetics as and cosplay as a career or a hobby. How did that go about for you? Well, I don't want it as a career, and that's part of the deal too. I don't want to be a pro, and it's not my thing. And I just retired from my Mongol job, so I do not want another job. But there was an old show, and people who have with an interest in prosthetics probably know about it. But there was a show called Face Off, and it was a contest, these elimination shows, and they did prosthetic makeups on the show. And I was already a cosplayer, and we won some contests and that kind of stuff. And I was always a sci-fi dorko, and had an interest in how it was done. I'm one of those curious people, like take it apart and see how it was done. Yeah. And so it all kind of fit together, and I got really interested in it as a hobby. I don't want to turn it into a job. Then it would be work and it wouldn't be fun. So got interested and combined it with the other hobby, which was cosplay, and the other hobby, which was conventions. And 10 years later, here we sit, teaching all around the Southeast and hopefully producing the artists of the future. Well, I'm impressed because I did watch Face Off, and yeah. I think I saw that, but I was never able to sit down and think that maybe I could replicate that in any way. I didn't think I had that kind of skill, so I'm impressed that you took that show and turned it into something.
Well, my job is to take you thinking you don't have that kind of skill and prove you wrong. So you're you're sitting in a chair in my class and you don't think you can do it. I'm there to prove you wrong.
Outstanding. So cosplay, how did you get into that, and what kind of characters and cosplays are you drawn to, and how did you come about that skills?
Well, you know, I like all the different genres. Horror is one of the genres, of course, and that's the one Scarefest specializes in. But I go to sci-fi conventions, comic conventions, you know, classic nerd stuff. I liked it all. And I had this, I guess I had a view of cosplay that wasn't like some other people's. And I was right. What I go and judge cosplay contests and stuff like that. And one of the things I tell them is it's not about how you look in your costume. It's about how you feel in your costume. That's real cosplay, right? Looks are almost superfluous. And when I took that pressure off myself, then I was able to go through that learning journey and that curve at my own pace and not have to impress anybody. And it was a lot of learning and crafting and making things, and I like all that stuff. So, and I think if I put it together and I liked it and I felt good wearing it around a convention floor, I did a good job. So that's what I teach people.
Absolutely. And you talk about old TV shows. There was one out, Heroes of Cosplay. And I know that inspired a whole lot of people to kind of get into it.
Yaya Han.
Yeah, but it showed a lot of the skills involved in creating those costumes, and it was amazing to see what all they did with crafting materials.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looks like armor, but it's made out of foam.
The skill level is amazing. I think, you know, what I want people to understand is that level of skill isn't what everybody's shooting for, right? Not everybody wants to be Yaya Han, one of the greatest cosplayers in the world. We just want to have fun and go do that. And that's perfectly, absolutely fine. Like, you don't have to be Yaya Han to be a good cosplayer. You don't. It's a journey, and everybody, wherever you are, is fine. Just keep that in mind. Wherever you are, you're good. You're good. So that's my message.
Well, and I think though we see all levels at Scarefest, and some of the simplest costumes are some of the most amazing. But some of the skill level we see walking around the convention every year is off the charts.
It really is. It really is.
How well they do. Like you said, there's all different skill levels, and some of the simplest costumes are some of the best. It's just getting out and doing what you enjoy and finding your passion in it.
I mean, the first challenge is just doing it. Just put something on and walk out there in front of people, right? That's terrifying to a lot of us. And because many of us, you know, obviously are, some of us anyway, myself anyway, are kind of social misfits and have been forever. So it feels risky when you do it. And then you find out it really wasn't, you know, because everybody still loved you. And, you know, this is a community. We're not going to diss each other. And cosplay shaming is like in the biz, the circles of real cosplayers. That's a big no-no. You know, what one does not. You don't do that. So if you're worried that a real cosplayer is going to look you up and down and roll their eyes at you, if somebody did that, then they're not a real cosplayer. They've missed the point, and I don't care what they have on. They're not a good cosplayer. So,
well, I will say, and you will never find a more supportive community than a horror con.
No, you guys are great.
We're at our first break right now, though, so I'm going to go ahead and toss it to commercial. We'll be right back with Rob and talk more about prosthetics and cosplay right after this.
The Bombs is a 2024 Scarefest weekend sponsoring vendor. The Bombs makes bath and body products for everyone. Ashley Dobbs makes unique small batch hand-painted bath bombs, plus sugar scrubs, whip soaps, and body oils. Find the bombs on Facebook and at the monthly Central Kentucky Mystical Market in Lexington. Scarefest Weekend sponsoring vendors make the event happen. Be sure to tell them that you heard it here on Scarefest TV.
Tuesday's Crypt features deals with talents in the horror community, from mask makers, sculptors, artists, and more. Plus, podcast Live in the Crypt, shooting the shiz with BK and the Swag, and BK and the Bees, Horror Buzz. Visit their website, join their Facebook group, and thank them for being a Scarefest sponsoring vendor.
And welcome back, everyone, to Scarefest Television. We're talking cosplay and prosthetics tonight with our guest, Rob Whelan. I do want to get to a couple things in the chat room. Jessica, Rob will be doing his seminars at 5 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and I have no idea on Sunday. I think it's in my email. Do you know, Rob?
So let me tell you about Sunday. Sunday is Kids Day.
Right.
And so the Sunday session is at 11 o'clock.
Huh.
But it's a 1-hour session, and it is geared towards children. Now, you don't have to physically be a child to enjoy the class, but that's kind of what it is. So we're doing 3 classes. We're doing the intro, the intermediate, which are grown-up types of things, even though some kids do come. And then what's on Sunday, they're huge fun. If you have your kids, bring them, because we just sort of give them cool stuff, makeups and stickers and tattoos and all kinds of things, and we sort of turn them loose and guide them and see what they create. So it's their opportunity to do things. And last year, kids were making up their parents, and and it was just really fun. And that class really wasn't initially scheduled. And I went and asked Lola if she'd add it, because we had so much fun doing it. It was hilarious. So we're not leaving without doing it. But if you're interested in the more sophisticated type of stuff, the Sunday one probably won't help you.
Now, in the chat room, now you answered this in the chat room, and we need to fill airtime. For example, what you have on your face right now, what is the initial investment that it takes to do that kind of makeup?
So what I have on my face depends on how much of this you actually want to make. There's remarkably little on my face. All right. So there's prosthetic gelatin, which we talk about how to make that. For $15, you can make enough gelatin for you and your friends and your kids until you die. And then there are a couple of paints, probably looking at $5 there, and then some adhesive, another $5. But keep in mind, you spend the $20, $30, whatever, you got enough to do you can make a lot of stuff out of that. All right, not just what's on my face. So we try to keep this, because cosplayers have no money, right? Of course. And we also serve indie filmmakers, and they don't have any money either. And so we really take this Hollywood stuff. Nobody has that kind of budget. And we bring it down in terms of skill, but also in terms of cost. Can you do an avatar makeup for $30? No, you can't. Or they would do it that way. That's why they spend $2 million on figuring that out.
Well,
but
if you have a Harbor Freight spray gun, I'm just saying, if you have a Harbor Freight spray gun,
yeah,
I think I could do it for $30.
Maybe.
I'm not saying it would be screen accurate.
Yeah, probably not. But I would like to see it. If you do a YouTube on that, man, send me the link over, okay? Because
that's been a running joke. Someone asked about, it had to do with Katie, one of her friends or something. was talking about doing face paint.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, Wes should do face paint. And I said, Rust-Oleum, that, that's
there you go.
direction
Yeah,
I
not
would
on your
go.
face, man. Not on your face.
Now, someone did ask, because you mentioned it there, have you gotten to work with any of the independent filmmakers, helping them stay on budget? Any films that we might have had through the circuit?
I have taught independent filmmakers. I don't go on set and actually work with them, but if they have, if I know you and you email me or call me or something, absolutely, I'm gonna help you out. We're gonna FaceTime or something, and I've done that. And in terms of movies and TV, how to put the official answer is no, because one does not do that when one is not a member of the union. One is not supposed to be on that set doing those types of things. And one happens to know some people who can smuggle one in, provided one never speaks of it. So one shall not speak of it. And I'll just let you go from there.
Fair enough. It's like interviewing a secret agent.
It is. I should run for office, really.
See, now an idea I had, now we won't do it this year because we're already so many fucking moving parts.
Yeah.
But last year, I decided I was changing up the black carpet event where the celebs come in.
Yeah.
And one of my ideas that we almost went with, but we were short on execution. We actually thought about this telling all the models, so you either have two choices: show up in cosplay, or we're going to slap like a big wound on your face. And we just didn't do it. And now that I've talked to you, I'm going to put that back into play, because I'm thinking maybe next year we might just call upon you, and all you'd have to do is be there Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, if they show up looking too pretty,
ugly them up. I do ugly real well. I do ugly.
But I will say,
I don't do pretty.
I will say I really did like the group picture we took. Now, this was told to me by a cosplayer one time, not a pro, but one of the regionally famous, really good cosplayers.
Yeah.
I guess Yaya Han's the only pro that I know of.
There are others.
But actually, I asked him, how do cosplayers feel about Halloween, the actual holiday Halloween? Is that like me being a drunk thinking, well, New Year's Eve's really not that big of a deal to me? Or how do you look at Halloween?
Oh, that depends on the cosplayer. That's almost, those are two totally separate things, really. Cosplayers who really like Halloween care about that, but there are cosplayers who do not give one flip about Halloween, and they're anime cosplayers, or they're some other superhero cosplayers, and Halloween it's just Halloween to them. It's a great holiday, but it's not a cosplay mecca,
I think it should be. Chad?
Well, maybe it should be. It should be. These people weren't raised right,
Absolutely, I agree. And I do notice, though, that most of the big name cosplayers have at least one horror related one. So it's always good to see they play at least a little bit of homage to it, even if they're anime or video games or superheroes, like you said. But most of them will have a vampire or a Wednesday Addams or something in there that they can throw out if it's horror related or as it gets close to spooky season. Rob, why don't you talk us through some of the tools that people will be helpful to them if they want to start looking into this? Some of the tools and products that they might want to start thinking about.
Oh, okay. So if you come and you take the intro class on Friday, the first thing we talk to you about is a substance called prosthetic gelatin, which was used a lot in like the old days. And now there's something called foam latex that gets used in everything. And that one is expensive and really hard to produce. So it's not really something you can do in your house. But if we just set the Wayback Machine up just a little bit, really, to the way it was done before those things came out, those old techniques still work. They work fine. And some of the greatest movies that we now have came out of those. So we start you out on prosthetic gelatin, and we try to keep everything that we do, particularly in that intro class, down to the level of what you can do going to a grocery store and a Halloween store, maybe to get your makeup and adhesive, or just, I'm Amazon's whore. I just bend over and I like don't even lube it, just go. And so I get most of my stuff off of that. But that's where we start you, cheap and easy and forgiving. And those would be the first tools we'd start you with. And you'd be surprised really at what that and some cheap paintbrushes will get you. And then we move up from there. And the professionals, of course, invest many thousands of dollars. Most of us are not going to do that. I have far more equipment than I need. But that's where you'd start. And we don't, but just to mention, liquid latex is big in the horror genre for makeup, and a lot of our cosplayers use it. And that's great. You can do a lot of good things with liquid latex. I don't teach it in any of my classes because of the risk of latex allergies, and people don't know that they have it.
I was about to ask that because my wife is allergic. So I was going to ask, it'd be a good chance to put it out there. Is your class latex friendly for anybody that's got an allergy?
It is latex friendly for that very reason. We can talk about latex if you want to have a conversation, tell you whatever you really want to know, but we don't do it. We don't put it on you for that reason. It's not worth ruining your con, having you break out and your weekend is fucked up. So we don't do it. No, it is latex friendly, and for even for our when we do gelatin, it's an animal-based product, right? So for our Muslim folks, there are two types of gelatin, and they'll know this, but there's a pork-based and a beef-based, and we use the beef-based in all of our classes so the Muslim folks can handle it and not feel icky. And then if you're just totally vegan, you don't want to handle animal products at all, I keep silicone copies of the pieces that we use, and those are vegan, and we have those for you too. So no latex, no pork. If you're vegan, we got you covered. We've done this long enough to know what, the diversity of stuff that we need to keep on hand. So.
That's awesome to know that you've thought about all that. So it's really going to open the class up to anybody. And I know that that with a crowd as large as will be at Scarefest this year, I know that it's welcome that it's going to be such an open event for anybody to participate in.
And it's free this year. Last year, you'd have tickets. And that was really because it was the first year Scarefest had ever done workshops, classes. Like, we didn't know. Nobody knew what to expect. And we sold tickets mostly just to prevent overflow from everything, and decide until we got a feel for it. So this year we're not going to do tickets, and so you don't have to register ahead of time. You can just come down, first come, first serve. We're out of room. We're out of room. I think the room holds 50 people. Wow. I think that's it. And
I'm sure it'll fill up.
So that's it. Normally, yeah. Normally it will. And I hate when we have to turn people away, but do keep in mind though that while we call these classes intro and intermediate, okay, it is better if you take the first one, but it's not absolutely required that you take the first one. So if you don't get in on Friday, come back and try again on Saturday and come into the intermediate one. Okay.
Well, we're telling them right now too, so they'll know to line up early. Check your schedule, make sure you're there before time.
Oh, and an important note: these classes are 2 hours long, so it's a long time to take out of your day. But if you know that you have a photo op, or you know that you there's an autograph you absolutely have to get, or you got your Matthew Lillard ticket and there's a time when you have to be there. Don't let that so much stop you. I don't know what we'll do with you, but we keep spare pieces and things like that. And if you have to leave and come back, then leave and come back, and we'll do something to get you caught up or back in the game. We don't want you to miss your photo op, and we don't want you to miss an autograph over this. So we'll chill. We'll work with you on it. Okay. Just make sure you show up and make sure we know that you're coming back. That's the big thing.
We're ready for a bottom of the hour break. I think we're going to have some guest announcements at the end of this break. So let's go ahead and toss to it. And we'll be back in a few minutes with Rob Whelan.
Are you a fan of horror movies, books, comics, music, and collectibles? Room Org magazine is for you. Subscribe today to receive 6 or 12 print issues annually and join me, executive editor Andrea Subasati, on an ongoing journey through the horror genre of the past, present, and future. Plus, get access to unmissable special editions such as A Century of Witches, 50 Years of Gore Cinema, British horror movies, and so much more. Room Org, the world's premier horror and culture and entertainment magazine since 1997. Accept no substitute.
Hey, it's a great night to announce from the makeup department. Victor Crowley, Jeepers Creepers, Hatchet, Saber. We've got Robert Pendergraft. Robert Pendergraft is coming to Scarefest. He has done makeup on 27, according to IMDb, 27 different. He's in special effects, and he's actually acted a little bit. Let's see, Holliston. He was on Holliston. So anyway, there is Robert Pendergraft, and our last, according to Adrian, our final announcement from Slaughterhouse, Bradley Fowler. Of course, you might know him from the little ditty in 2022. Can't believe it. Starfucker. So I don't know. That's on IMDb. Bloody Bites, Unverified, Eyes Upon Waking. Actually got a pretty good little IMDb list going here. But Bradley Fowler from one of our favorites, Slaughterhouse. And while he was doing banners, he did me one. Wes Forsythe, me right here, will be at Scarefest. I'll be somewhere between the Scarefest TV booth and the escalator 90% of the weekend. But that's where you would find me. And don't forget our panel moderator, Mr. Joe Lewis, who of course also does the movie reviews for Scarefest TV. We will be there. And going on sale tonight, this is actually the important part now. Going on sale tonight, some of you wanted to go to the VIP party. If you do not have a VIP level pass, there will be a limited number of VIP party tickets going on sale tonight. That will, of course, be at Manchester Music Hall, 18 and over, cash bar. You have to be 21 to drink, and I might just get belligerent about it. So anyway, VIP party, that goes on sale tonight. I want to thank some of our featured vendors. We have the Toy Matrix. 4 booths are taking it. The Toy Matrix will be at Scarefest. And not to be outdone, Time Warp Toys, cards, games, collectibles, another 4 booths right there. Time Warp will be at Scarefest. Now, that is, I got to see if we missed any featured vendors, but that's who I'm announcing tonight. Hey, stop by scarefestradio.com. Catch the latest episode of Gussied Up Magic. They've got a couple online. You go to their members area, but there are a couple of the episodes available to the public, or you can go on our Scarefest TV YouTube channel and see a couple. And while you're wanting to show your support for this show, go to patreon.com/ScarefestRadio, and you can support me in my little network endeavor here, my little podcast network, and a lot of other stuff. that I do just to keep, because I have so much free time on my hands. Anyway, it's as cheap as $1 a month, people. $1 a month. One of the things that I do is run 5Ks despite smoking since I was 18. God, I don't even want to do the math. Anyway, but I quit smoking last year. Still have a cigar every now and then because I'm a puss. But anyway, Saturday, September 28th, I'll be doing the Run Baby Run 5K at Coldstream Park in Lexington. My sponsor for that run is Mama Rubies. Mama Rubies, who has been a long-time supporter of myself and the show. And just to turn around and support them, after I run a 5K, I'll put on a little extra deodorant and go down to the Full Moon Sisters Bazaar in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That is September 28th and 29th. I'll have to come back Sunday because Scarefest business, but you can stop by the booth, get a bad tarot reading, and meet the lovely Joanna Hochstetter. She'll be there with me that weekend, and I'll sign your autograph for free if you got something you want me to sign. Central Kentucky Mystical Market is also that weekend, just to drive in your mind how busy that weekend is. Saturday and Sunday, once again, 28th, 29th, Central Kentucky Mystical Market. Go to scarefestweekend.com. Click the link on there, and you can see a full calendar, and with more coming. I think they even did have some of the vendors stuff. I'm not sure anymore. But more information, and of course, Facebook. You can find them on Facebook, easy enough. And finally, I want to drill this in your head. Keep February 15th, 2025 open. The Caribbean Carnival. The Caribbean Carnival will be coming to the Clarion Hotel on Newtown Pike. I'm going to have a talk with it. They named something that has the first and last word in the name you can pronounce two different ways. So I might be saying the whole.
You just flop Starfucker out there, and you're going to complain about Carnival. Yeah.
Well, you tell me how you would pronounce it. They put an asterisk in it.
I'm still working at Starfucker,
and then asterisk cur. So I think we all know, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm taking it to the people. I'm taking it to the people.
Yeah, that's and I've got some research to do on that now because I'm going to have to. Netflix or something.
You know what? Just for spite, for shits and giggles, I'm going to look in. I want to read the IMDb on that movie.
Where would you find? Where would you find that?
If you find IMDb, I looked up the guest.
No, the film.
Oh well,
I have a feeling that its IMDb rating is like a 1.3. And
I don't think they show it on this. You have to go on the app to see if it's streaming anywhere. Probably on Tubi. Everything else is.
Tubi.
Anyway, a narcissistic psychopath with ADD, BPD, and a sex. What is BPD? Anybody know? Anybody in the chat room know what BPD stands for? Bipolar disorder. I win. Okay. And a sex addiction tries to sleep his way to the top of Hollywood, only to find his world crash down around him. It sounds kind of sad, really.
It does, really.
Okay. Now back to my guest. Mr. Rob Whelan, our cosplay prosthetics class teacher. Okay, now, I've real burned through all my cosplay questions, except I do want to know. Now, I do a little cosplay, but I do it like the biggest extent that I've gone to so far is if I'm really in the mood for it, I smear my face with the white grease paint and then put the black eyes on and then take a rag and wipe it. I actually found I like to look better if it looks like I did it wrong. Because if I try to do it right, then it really looks like I did it wrong. Now, that all being said, I love Halloween in that, not just Halloween I love the season. I love going through Walmart and looking at all the neat little makeup things. Do you like go through there and look for ideas, or do you get excited about that kind of stuff?
No. But what I will do now, when Halloween is over and Walmart has all the leftover makeup and all that crap on get it out of here sale, I go and scrape it all up and get stock up on supplies for these classes. But there's really nothing that they're doing. You know, Spirit Halloween isn't going to teach you much.
There are those of us who are too old to learn anything. It's not that we can't; we just don't want to. And, but if I can find just find a nice little glue-on thing at Walmart, that's enough for me. In the chat room, okay. We said it before. We're going to say it again. These classes are free. Free. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday classes are free because that's just what a swell guy Rob is. And so I just want to drill that into your head. And
you get stuff. So you'll get a little, let me see if I can get back in here. If you come Friday, you get a little kit and a little prosthetic, and this, you can play with all that. If you come back on Saturday, let's see if I have that on. That kit is a lot bigger, and it has a lot more stuff in it. But all those supplies and kits, that's all covered for you. You don't have to pay for any of that. Con and I sort of work it out, and we split the costs, and everybody's happy, and that works for us. But you don't pay. You're good to go. So come on by.
Okay, now I'm just going to come out and ask you, why do you do that? Because I get itchy handing out business cards when I have to pay for it. And here you're handing out sponges and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I like my students, and I like this art, and I'm watching this art die. In terms of film and television, like it's all CGI, and what little bit of makeup that's done is either beauty makeup, which is not this, or it's the start of something. And even on the makeup, there are green, you'll see green blotches there where they're going to put something in there after in post-production. So I'm not looking for this to be a long-term thing in movies and TV, particularly with AI coming. But the only way to preserve it, is to go and hit cosplayers who are not going to go CGI. They can't. Indie filmmakers don't have the money to go CGI. Live theater, of course, is not going to go CGI. And those are the avenues where this art will survive. So that's why I do it. My goal, I'm here looking for the next artist. Every good teacher wants to produce something that's better than themselves. So that's the goal right there, right?
Before we jump to break, and I'll toss it to Chad when we come back. One of the movies, I'm in charge of the film festival, and one of the movies, I think it was a short. I don't think it was a feature. But what I remember most about it is it was a good feature, except you could tell they bought one of those over-the-counter, downloaded all CGI effect overlay things. Ooh. And when they would everything, the makeup and everything was on point. But every time I don't remember that, I think they shot people. I don't think they stabbed them. But every time they would shoot somebody, this ridiculous-looking blood explosion. Oh. Yeah. And it made me so sad. Because otherwise, I really liked it, but it was so obvious that it was not just CGI, bad CGI.
Well, you don't want something that jerks you out of the film.
Right.
And that can happen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to happen.
Well, when we come back, I will show you the worst computer CGI that I've ever seen in a movie. Everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Treat Studios is a Scarefest weekend sponsoring vendor. Trick or Treat Studios is the one-stop shop for high-quality Halloween and horror. Shop masks, costumes, figures, collectibles, games, and more from your favorite movies. Find Trick or Treat Studios online at trickortreatstudios.com. Scarefest.com.
Joel of Robinson Art is a Scarefest weekend sponsoring vendor. Joel Robinson has been the official Scarefest weekend artist since its beginning in 2008. Joel is a movie cover artist and a Universal Monsters artist. Visit Joel for posters, canvases, t-shirts, purses, and backpacks. Visit Joel's Etsy page at joelrobinsonart.com.
This is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly, and I actually went out to a theater and saw a movie. And a ton of you all went and saw it with the rest of the Scarefest family. I couldn't go because I had to wait on my 7-year-old and his grandmother because I promised him I'd take him. Man, this is a hard movie to review. Beetlejuice. And the reason it's a hard movie to review is because I liked quite a bit of it. Also, I thought a lot of it was meh. A friend of mine, Jonathan Peacock, who is one of the Western Kentucky Ghostbusters and a really good cosplayer and absolutely wonderful to my son. My son thinks he hung the moon, thinks he's a real Ghostbuster. And he may very well be. Peacock is a really good dude. But he does these one-sentence, spoiler-free reviews. And I think his was best. I'm going to read it verbatim. I haven't asked him for permission, but I will give him credit. Like a Tim Burton ragdoll, this movie is comprised of lots of different story ideas that have been haphazardly stitched together, misspelled, resulting in a big whimsical mess, or it's not showtime. I think that's pretty accurate. This movie is a lot like Ghostbusters after Frozen Empire, which I enjoyed quite a bit, but it was about 3 or 4 movies in one, and none of them were well thought out or placed. 3 different plot lines, none of them really give you a really great payoff. Tell you what really saves a movie, and this is just my opinion. Catherine O'Hara is just as fantastic as she was 34 years ago as she is now. She's fantastic. Catherine O'Hara, Bob, if you see the movie, you'll understand Bob, a lot of fun, and kind of Michael Keaton. It just isn't the same. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. It's been 34 years, but it just doesn't hit the same as it did when my mind melted in 88 when I was 10 years old. And I had to watch it, and I made my mom rent it because I saw it in the theater and blah, 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 blah. And it was great. I loved it. Doesn't hit the same. Now, that's not saying that it's a bad movie. It's not. I really enjoyed parts of it, but there's some of it that doesn't quite click. 3 kind of bad guys. There's Beetlejuice's ex-wife. There's the one hidden plain view. If you've ever seen a movie, you know that's a bad guy. I didn't care for Justin Theroux's performance. I mean, I know he's playing an a-hole, but it just doesn't go anywhere. The Beetlejuice wife thing, I wish there was more of a payoff. I'm trying to not give you spoilers if you haven't seen it. And the other thing, there's just not a raw. And then there's a dance sequence at the end. It's about 7 minutes long. If you're a James Thomas or Joe Lewis, you know that the original Dumbledore, Richard Harris, had a singing career and a #1 hit with this song. Look it up in the 60s. Had a #1 hit with that song. It was #1. I'm not going to say it. But James and I used to sing it, and we'd talk about it and laugh. But watching it play out for 7 minutes in a $100 million movie is a little long. It is not quite as catchy as Day-O, Day-O. This song is not it. It's great. I love that Tim had the balls to do it. It's just goes on. I enjoyed parts of it. I really did. There were scenes in it that I cracked up at. Anything with Bob, most of the stuff with the cop and the Green Goblin, you'll know when you watch it. But overall, it's kind of a big mess, like Frozen Empire. It's a big, fun, sloppy mess that doesn't really pay off, kind of like most of my Saturday nights. So should you see Beetlejuice? If you're a Beetlejuice fan, you've probably already seen the damn thing. 140 million worldwide last weekend, the second biggest September box office opening in history. Does it suck? No, it doesn't suck. There's way worse Tim Burton movies. Is it as great as Variety said it was? No, most of you, I've been reading you. I think I've read Meredith's and somebody else's on. But most of you got it right. It's kind of a big mess. It's fun in parts. I was happy to see it. Wasn't mad when I walked out, but it was, hey, Mom, did you enjoy it? Meh. Q, who I just saw show Beetlejuice 2 a few weeks ago. How was Beetlejuice 2? I like the first one. I like the first one too. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
To everybody, Rob Whelan, we're talking cosplay prosthetics, and now we're off on movie CGI. I think the movie is called Cougars, and the reason I watched it, I think Brent Stevens was in it. And here is their version of CGI. When they changed into the cougars, the actual cougar animals, this little thing popped up in front of their face, and I mean that's almost screen accurate, just so you know. So just wanted to show everybody that I too can do cosplay and CGI in real time.
Sometimes film can go too indie.
It's all about telling the story, whatever you got to do to get there.
You know, really, it kind of is. And you can overlook a lot for a good story.
Absolutely.
But not everything. You gotta get them together at some point. But I'm for a good story, I'm willing to suspend a lot of disbelief, and enjoy the plot. But yeah, cat pictures, I don't think I could go there.
Well, we talked a little bit about Face Off and stuff and how it inspired you. Are there any artists out there, makeup artists that you drew from or inspired you to delve into this?
Yeah, and some of them I've gotten to meet. I've gotten to meet a number of the people that were on Face Off, who I felt like were not gods, but very, very skilled mortals. And then you get into, folks like Thomas Savini, he was there last year, and Greg Nicotero, who's coming back this year. And, those are kind of the godlike figures in the biz. And Christian Tinsley, one of my favorites, Gary Tunnicliffe, Gary's kind of wild, but he and some other people helped really refine the pinhead makeup and some of the things that came out of that. And I'm a Hellraiser fan, so, and he's done a lot of good work. He's a smart guy, and so I like his work. George Romero. All the way back to Lon Chaney. Are you old enough to know who Lon Chaney is? So
absolutely.
All right. So Lon Chaney was really the father of all of it. He invented the idea of doing special effects in film. So he's the Big Mac daddy of it, and he did very little, and we still build on everything that he did. And then, of course, Stan Winston, another legend. But I didn't get to meet Greg last year because I was teaching. But I'm going to try to make it up and say hi to him this year.
Well, I know everybody's excited to see you this year, and I'm excited to hear how the classes go. I may have to play hooky for a while and come stick my head in there and watch for a while.
Come see us. So my next gig, my next convention gig is you guys. Before that, I'm doing a private session with haunted house people, and that'll be 2 days, not 2 hours. So that's going to be like a whole boot campy thing. So several haunted houses in my area are getting together, and we're going to teach all their actors how to do makeup. And then I'll have another gig in December, but I won't be teaching. I'm going as a cosplay judge. So you guys are the big one for the rest of the year for me. So anybody with interest wants to come and hang out, this would be a great chance for you. And it's free. This would cost you probably 4 hours instruction, probably $150 if you went pro on it. And that's like 2 weekend passes paid for. Boom, done. So come see us.
And we'll close on that note. Rob, I want to thank you for coming on the show on short notice. It was fun talking to you. Everybody, if you can catch those classes, the schedule is on the speaker schedule on the website. Speaker. And then we will also do a master everything for the people that actually want to try to catch just everything they can. But it was fun talking to you tonight. Everybody, we'll see you next week.